Oh, yeah, baby. Welcome to Super Bowl Sunday 2024. At the Super Bowl, they're going to announce that Taylor Swift is pregnant or something. I'm serious, you guys. And also, UFOs will be at the Super Bowl, floating above it, because they're more interested, too, also in Taylor Swift and whatever she does. The UFOs are flying over the Super Bowl, taking pictures of Taylor Swift. She's so talented, you guys, and she's pregnant. She's not married. You know, the football guy must have a fucking IQ of like 27 to get with Taylor Swift. Who knows? Maybe his lawyer, manager, attorney, or publicist, agent, or whatever is like, dude, you got to get with Taylor Swift. We have to hype you. You need more hype. Yeah, he's only supposedly one of the greatest tight ends, I think. I'm not sure what he is, you guys. I don't really know football. But all I really do know is that he's with Taylor Swift. I don't even know his name. Kelsey or something. I don't really follow football, you guys. I follow, I'm a hockey kind of guy, not really football. But American idiots love football. All the fucking retards that vote for Trump, and even the retarded Democrat union douchebags who voted for John Kerry or, Obama or Hillary. The union, that union man who will just decide if you live or you die, or you starve or you eat, or you get an EBT card, or you get SSI or SSDI. That Democrat union hack. Who's the guy? I don't even know who the guy president right now. Oh, Joe Douchebag. The people that voted for Joe Douchebag, I don't even think anyone fucking voted for Joe Douchebag, our current president. I think the votes were counted with AI, and that some of the people were voting and they were like, well, you have a low rating, so your vote doesn't count. Some guy out in Arkansas, he's like, what? I voted for Trump. Donald Trump cares about me. And then the union Democrats are like, no, you're racist. You Trump people are all racist. We're more important and educated than you. We all pay $6,000 a month rent. And Joe Biden's inflation is great. We love it because we're educated. We have college degrees. And we love Taylor Swift. She's pregnant. And it's important because UFOs are there over the Super Bowl filming Taylor Swift. I'm like, yeah, the whole fucking country is stupid, you guys, right and left. You got half the country's obsessed with Trump, and the other half is obsessed with gossip, hip hop, rap, YouTube, TikTok, and Taylor Swift. That's what you're fucking living in, America. So I'm not going to talk about the Super Bowl or America today. I'm going to talk about Roll the Bones by a Canadian band called Triumph with Rick Emmett right here. This band, Rush. Rush, Zebra, Triumph. They're all the same band. I can't fucking tell them apart. No, that's not true, you guys. Rush has keyboards, and they went through this digital robotic phase where they sound like robots. They're nothing like Zebra, and they're nothing like Triumph. Actually, Zebra and Triumph are better than Rush. But because Rush has Neil Peart, who's really fucking awesome on drums. Neil Peart is like a Clark the Shark on drums, you guys. He fucking kicks ass. But then Geddy Lee the bassist slash lead singer is just so incredible. He never makes a mistake on bass. Super tight bass playing. That's just unbelievable, you guys. It goes right with Neil Peart. Neil Peart and Geddy Lee are not fucking around. These guys make no mistakes. They are the tightest rhythm section, and it's difficult what they play. It's dexterous. I'm still not sure if dexterous is a real word, but if it is Rush, you guys. They are more than robotic or keyboards, keyboard soaked or keyboard laden prog rock in the 80s. It's really fucking lame. They went through like 4 or 5 albums that sucked. I like them though. Me, Clark the Shark, I like everything Rush does. And Triumph and Zebra. Although I lost interest in Zebra, I never really lost interest in Rush. I kept going to their shows, and people would see me at a Rush show, and they'd be like, "Hey, I saw Clark the Shark. I didn't know he's into Rush." And I'm like, hello, Clark the Shark on drums, South Bay, Redondo, Torrance, the video at Santa Monica with Phil Keegan live at the Music Machine, 1989. Go Google it. Greenhouse Effect live at the Music Machine. The whole place was packed, and yet nobody was cheering. That's one thing I'll never forget about that gig. There was like 200 people in the crowd watching us, and they never cheered. They didn't even nothing. I don't know if they were in awe or if they all just fucking hated our guts, or maybe they hated my guts, me, Clark the Shark. But check out the versions of Think About It, Precarious, The Magic Man and Two Rolling Stone, the Robin Trower cover live. It's amazing. Phil Keegan and me. And the red-haired guy, Rick Carmody, for the Comic Relief. That guy with the big bun of red hair. They call him Ted, but his name's Rick Carmody. But they call him Ted, you guys, because of Ted Ropp, red top, Ted Ropp. That guy. He's on bass. And that's one of the videos, all those live songs from 1989, that really made GE famous online, you guys. It's not so much my lame fucking studio songs, Brandy and all that. It's the live shit with Phil Keegan. And to a degree, you could argue even the early shit with Phil Keegan. The guy was a genius. I should have kept on playing with him. In all actuality, we should have kept the 3-piece GE going with me on vocals from the drums, just Carmody, me, and Keegan. It would have been fucking awesome. But it wasn't meant to be. And who knows? Maybe we would have ended up like Rush, Roll the Bones, playing arenas and all this fucking shit. It would have been incredible, you guys. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show at 1-800-449-8255 from the golden, fabulous EIB Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone because it was given to me by Neil Peart. Just before he died, he came to my house in Los Angeles, you guys. I'm going to shed a tear. We're talking about Neil Peart here, you guys. I'm going to get verklempt. But he came over to my house and he's all, "Clark the Shark, you're amazing on drums." And I said, "Dude, don't ever say that to Clark the Shark. I'm a songwriter, singer, drummer, guitarist, producer. I do everything. And I also do a little acting, brain surgery, molecular biology, gynecology, UFO. I'm a ufologist like Tom DeLonge. I'm a Swiss Army knife, baby, jack of all trades. Me, Clark the Shark, I do it all." And I was a little insulted when Neil Peart came over to my house just before he died. And he was crying. And he's all, "I want to tell you something, Clark the Shark. I'm a fan of you and your band." And I got verklempt. I was like, "Neil, dude, don't die, bro, please." And he's all, "I gotta go, Shark. We all do." It's weird, dude. He had to leave this universe or wherever he went. I don't know. And I was very sad. But I didn't really shed a tear when Neil Peart died, you guys. I was more in shock because I was pissed off at Rush, Alex Lifeson, and Geddy Lee for never saying the guy had cancer, number one, or nothing in the Rush management, attorneys, lawyers. I didn't even know the fucking guy had cancer. When he died, dude, I was like, what? Dude, Neil Peart died? I was in complete shock, you guys. 1-800-449-8255, the Clark the Shark Show, only 5'6", no college degrees. no, very limited parental love or something back in the day. One of those guys from Torrance, Redondo. I never went to college. I barely went to El Camino in Torrance. Nobody cared about me or something, or maybe they did and I didn't know. People are always like, Clark's clueless. He's fucking brain dead. He's so in his own little world, and he's so just wrapped up in himself that all he cares about is Rush, Roll the Bones, all these fucking lame albums. But me, Clark the Shark, I'm like, no, you guys, you got to look into Rush. I like Rush more than Triumph and Zebra and other three-piece bands because Rush are willing to try new things. They try something new, kind of like me, Clark the Shark. And sometimes it doesn't always work, you guys. A lot of times, Rush albums suck to most people, but not to me, Clark the Shark. I kind of like them, except for Presto. I don't really like that album. Think it kind of fucking sucks. It's got moments, it's all right. But this album, 1991, Roll the Bones, the year that Blake Douchebag and that three-piece band from Seattle called the Douchebag Effect, they broke it wide open and sold like 10 million albums in 1991, you guys. But right around the same time as Blake, Geddy and Neil and Alex Rush, they came out with Roll the Bones in 1991, September 3rd, and what an album this was. I used to sit at 251 Paseo de Gracia Garage, and I remember I would listen to Roll the Bones, this album. I really liked it. And there was always people at my house hanging out. Like me, Clark the Shark, I never had friends. There was never anyone. But there was this phase from like 1989 or so to parts of early 1992 where my whole garage was filled with, I don't know, just all these top musical honchos from the South Bay, all these punk rockers, and everybody was at Clark the Shark's garage on 251 Paseo de Gracia, hanging out at my house. Because I threw the Wilson Park shows, in Torrance with all these bands. And I threw a lot of concerts around the South Bay at all these different venues. I was developing into this big rock and roll honcho, kind of like my brother Jeff when he was with the Twisters and all that back, long before me. But I was throwing all these shows and concerts and all this stuff, and my band was, selling a lot of tapes and vinyls, and we had the red vinyl with the Current Affair on it and all that, and sold out 1,000 copies, and that sucker wasn't cheap. It was like $6.99. way back in the day, and I sold every fucking copy, you guys, all over the South Bay. Everyone wanted that vinyl, the red vinyl, the 4-song EP by the Greenhouse Effect, 1989. If you can find that today, I know it's all over the South Bay, but it's probably fucking worthless, you guys. But anyway, it's not as good as Rush, Roll the Bones. Anyway, back to my garage, 251 Paseo de Gracia. Everybody involved in music hung out with Shark at that house for about, 3 years. And people would just get smashed drinking beers and smoking weed. My whole house was a party. Until Blake Douchebag hit the scene on MTV. Late 1991, early 92, and then all of a sudden no one was coming around anymore, ever at my house in Redondo Beach, Torrance. And suddenly everyone was getting on jets and flying to Seattle to go check out Soundgarden and Blake Douchebag and Alice in Chains and all that shit. And suddenly Los Angeles was like ice cold in 92. The heavy metal died, and, nobody was hanging out with Sharky. I mean, not that I was metal. I was alternative punk and all that. But what I'm saying is there's a little bit of metal, too. There were metalheads hanging out at 251 with the punkers. And I'll never forget, I went out there one night and took a picture because there were long-haired leather metal guys sitting there drinking beers with people from like Pennywise and Instigator and all these bands around the South Bay, Prop 13, and everyone hung out at my house, you guys. I'm not kidding. And people hated me. They thought I was a douchebag, and yet they hung out there because they thought I was going to get signed. But when Blake Douchebag hit it big on MTV, it was like it was all over, you guys. That was the end of Clark the Shark, and no one came around anymore, hung out. I think just Bob Becker from Fearless Records and a few other people were coming around. There was some band called Schlumpf from the South Bay Torrance, and they were still coming around as late as 1995, but I was gone. I moved away either down to San Diego or Bel Air mowing lawns or something. But, by the time 1996... I was like 31 and it was over, you guys, for me, Clark the Shark. But I would still, up in Bel Air, I would listen to Rush and things like this album right here, Roll the Bones, 1991. Now, this album is still got a lot of keyboards. I think it's the last Rush album that's just loaded with keyboards, and it's over the top, and it's like really just packed with too much shit. And it's overdone or something. And yet it sounds good. I like it. I like this album. And it's got some comeback songs on it for Rush. It's a big improvement over Presto, you guys. And those other albums in there. I think, what's that Red album? Hold Your Fire. And, those two albums are problematic for Rush. But before that, they had the one that I reviewed, Power Windows, which is a good album, a great album, actually. Maybe slightly better than this one, Rush, Roll the Bones. And then the album I really like is Grace Under Pressure, 1984. A lot of people hate that album, and they say that's where Rush started to suck. I kind of agree and disagree, you guys. Before that, Signals is where things began to change for Rush. But, I like it because they're trying new things. Maybe it's not super great or, the cat's meow or whatever, but it's still fucking awesome to see Rush experimenting and shit and trying fucking new shit or something, you guys. Rush is, they're like anal sex, without lube or something. They're just fucked up, and you're just the victim. And you're like, I'm getting fucked by Rush. I just paid a bunch of good money to see Rush, and they're fucking me with this lame keyboards shit. And I'm just like, no, dude, listen again. It's not bad. It's fucking gay, and it's overdone. There's too much production, way too many keyboards. The songs are too fucked up, and they're too prog, and yet they're pop at the same time. That's what's really confusing about Rush. It kind of reminds me of Yes, 90125, and 9012 Live, and shit like that in the 80s. They went through a phase that was very much typical 80s band kind of shit. Lots of keyboards and annoying shit that you could do without, and yet... I don't know, me personally, Clark the Shark, I'm cool with it. I like it. I like to see people try new shit. And Rush, we're doing that for many albums. After this comes the album called, I think, Counterparts. And that's not an album I'm really wild about. They start to try to go rock and roll again or something, but I don't know. For me, it doesn't work that well. It's got moments too, but we're not talking about that or any other Rush album. We're talking about Roll the Bones, 1991, this atmospheric, digital, robotic, melodic, very ambient Rush album, you guys. Rock and roll keyboards, killer drumming. I don't care what the stars say. It's probably going to, who knows, dude, what kind of reviews it'll get. It gets a long write-up at Wikipedia. AllMusic gives it a 3 out of 5. The Encyclopedia of Popular Music, a 2 out of 5. Entertainment Weekly, a B. But you guys, I'm going to disagree. The review of Rush, Roll the Bones, that matters is the one right here on the Clark the Shark show from me, Clark the Fabulous Shark, and Dreamline. The opening song, side one, of course, Dreamline is a song Rush plays live, and I believe they start the show with Dreamline. which is a good song. It's just really solid, but it's not great. I think Rush thinks it's great. That's why they play it so much and all that. But, you know, it's good. You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like, you don't even like rate it or something. You're like, yeah, it's good. It's like you're on, you know, that movie Click with Adam Sandler where he's fast forwarding. That's Dreamline. You're just like eating spaghetti and you're like, yeah. You know, it's like that, dude. It's good. Dreamline, you know. How does it go? It's like he's got a liquid crystal compass. They travel on the do-do-do-do-do. You know the song, you guys. Bravado, though, is a song I really love. Track 2. I want you to listen to that song. It's like, if we burn our wings, flying too close to the shark, if the moment of glory is over before shark began. You know, Geddy's just got horrible vocals. He's the worst singer in the history of all rock. And yet it's interesting. His voice is, it kind of reminds me of the guy in REO Speedwagon. It's this high helium, like high pitched, really fucking annoying lead vocals that he actually goes out of tune a lot. I mean, his singing sucks. And yet, kind of like Neil Young's guitar, I like it because it's so fucking shitty. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing trying to sing? He's terrible. I mean, his voice sounds like, I swear, dude, like he just fucking sucked a dick on helium. Terrible lead singer, Geddy Lee, the worst in rock, and yet I love it because it's so fucking weird. And of course, the title track, Roll the Bones, awesome song, you guys. What can I say? A big comeback for Rush. Killer song. You guys all know Roll the Bones. I'm not going to have to fucking tell you about that one. Everyone's good, though. It even has like this little hip-hop rap. I think it's Neil Peart, but it could just be Geddy slowed down, where someone's rapping, you know, or they're like, Jack, relax, you're going to kick a little gluteus max, you know. You guys know it. Face Up is kind of a generic pedestrian, you know, song. It's not horrible. It's just kind of like, you know, you know, it's one of those Rush songs, kind of like it could have been on Presto, where Face Up sounds much more like Presto than Roll the Bones. And Where's My Thing, the instrumental, of course, is fucking awesome. I love that song. Fucking love that. It's killer. Killer drumming from Neil Peart. Everything's killer, you guys, with this band. You know, I shouldn't rag on Geddy's vocals too much because it's really skilled how he plays incredible bass lines that go right with Neil Peart's technical drumming. And Geddy's singing at the same time. He never makes a mistake. I mean, sometimes Rush will do this thing live where they accidentally play the whole part twice. I remember seeing that I think on the tour in '84, and I was like, wow, Rush made a mistake, but it wasn't a mistake. They just played the whole fucking song like twice. It was weird, you guys. I'm not kidding. Other people will tell you if they saw Rush, I think on the Signals tour and Grace Under Pressure, and maybe even Power Windows, Rush were making mistakes, but it wasn't a mistake. It was like they were playing the whole bridge or the whole verse twice. It was weird. You had to be there. Me, Clark the Shark, I was there. I've seen Rush like 30 times live. Now, side 2, Problematic, The Big Wheel. These songs are kind of Presto, like, you know, for me, Clark the Shark, I like them. I'm interested in the fucked up gay fucking keyboards and shitty arrangements and poppy yet prog confusion. I like it, you guys. The Big Wheel. Interesting. And so is Hearsay or Heresy, whatever it's called. That's interesting. I'm interested. I'm not turning it off or throwing the CD out the window. I'm still listening. Now, Ghost of a Chance, of course, is like a hit song from Rush that we all know. It's awesome. I love Ghost of a Chance. Like Roll the Bones, it's a radio-friendly, big song on the radio. Good shit. It's a great melody. It almost sounds like you've heard it before, like Rush is ripping off another song from somebody like Tears for Fears or Elton John or something, and yet it's not, or they don't, you guys. It's original. Ghost of a Chance. I want you to buy this CD just for that song. Good stuff. Good shit from Rush. Neurotica, kind of interesting. I like that song. Of the lame songs on this album, Neurotica is probably my favorite. And You Bet Your Life, once again, kind of pedestrian, generic, run-of-the-mill Rush in this phase. You Bet Your Life. You could listen to it, you guys, and draw your own conclusion. But like Face Up before it, You Bet Your Life is just kind of like, it's all right. Overall, in general, though, I like this album, you guys. And once again, Alex Lifeson, the guitarist, who's really fucking awesome, he's like buried in the mix or something. And I wish he was louder or something. I wish it was more of a guitar album and less keyboards. That being said, this album seems to balance out things really good. You got the drums, you got the killer bass, you got the keyboards, and you got Alex Lifeson and the singing that's really fucking lame. But it's all really fucking killer. It's awesome, you guys, the way they mix it all. And overall, scale of 1 to 10, for me, Clark the Shark, this album's like an 8.5, maybe an 8.7. I'm not going to say I love this album, but I really like this solid album. I like things that are solid, meat and potatoes, and this album from Rush. And let me tell you, you guys, Rush might be my favorite band other than Captain Beyond. Other than David Bowie, Roxy Music, The Tubes, Captain Beyond, Frank Zappa, and Genesis, like A Trick of the Tail era, Rush is one of my favorite things, you guys. Even the fucking shitty, horrible lead vocals from Geddy Lee. The guy is actually the worst singer in the history of rock. And yet, because he's so terrible a singer, it's awesome because it's so different and unique. And I can't believe this guy got a record deal with vocals that are this bad. And that's why I like the band, because everything's technical here. The drumming's amazing from Pert. The keyboards are pretty killer. He's not the world's greatest keyboardist, Geddy, but it's interesting the way it's all overdubbed and all that. And then they pull it off live. They don't make any mistakes. I'm sure the backstage they got somebody playing or something, or they do some process live. I don't even know what they do, where they use triggers, and they do it all perfectly. They rarely make mistakes with it. And it's awesome the way Rush play live, and they almost sound exactly like these albums. Of course, the bass lines are amazing. Alex Lifeson on guitar. He's got tons of different effects, and he's such a great guitarist. He never makes a mistake, of course, you guys. He's just right there with Geddy, just kicking ass, dude. I love Alex Lifeson on guitar. And even Geddy singing Take It or Leave It, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, it goes with Rush. And Neil Peart is such a great drummer, you almost forget about Geddy Lee as you listen to Rush. And then you're listening to the whole thing. It's all involved. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't change one thing about this band, you guys. Believe you me, I've seen them 30 times live or more. And they've got something together that no other band has. They're very unique, very, very strange and different, and yet commercial, too pop, considering how prog and difficult they are. Rush, like Yes, 9021 Live, or or maybe kind of like Asia or something. Those bands that are over processed and there's just too much going on. Rush is one of those bands, and yet no, they're different. They have their own unique signature sound, and then it hits you, you realize there's no signature sound at all because it's always different every time. Rush do things once, and they never do it again. Now, they do kind of get into a phase in the 80s where a bunch of the albums seem to sound the same, but if you listen to them, they really don't. There's something different going on Presto, which isn't going on Hold Your Fire or Power Windows or Grace Under Pressure. Believe you me, you guys, Grace Under Pressure, that album has its own signature sound. It doesn't sound like any other Rush album. And I can kind of say that about Signals. And then Power Windows is just totally different from all the Rush before it. It's just really weird and commercial, poppy, yet prog. But they really go to that next level here with this album, Roll the Bones. This album is where Rush bring it all together and perfect it. And they even have hit songs and everything. This was a great time for Rush. 1991, Roll the Bones. And believe me, you guys, I cared much more about Rush, Roll the Bones, than I ever cared about Blake Douchebag or Pearl Jam or any of that fucking shit in the 90s. Fuck that. I'd rather listen to Rush. I'll even listen to Counterparts or something really fucking lame. What's that album from like 96? Rush have a terrible album. Test for Echo or Check for Echo. That album fucking sucks, but I'll take that over Blake Douchebag, Pearl Jam, or all that 90s shit any day of the week. But certainly this album, you guys, Roll the Bones, 1991, amazing, awesome project, very dedicated, and Rush are very committed when they do an album. It's going to be unique. It's going to be signature. It's going to be all their own, you guys. No other band can be like this. Forget the fact you can't play like this. It's hard for a band to sound like this, like Rush. These guys are geniuses, not just at playing, but at songwriting, the whole bit. Lyrics are great from Peart. It's awesome. And once again, you guys, I'm sad that Neil Peart is gone. Died of cancer, dude. Brain cancer. How tragic. Sad way to go, man. What a genius he was. Drumming, writing lyrics. The whole band has something amazing going in it, you guys. And these guys are underappreciated. You know, when people are listening to Taylor Swift and packing arenas to see that little fucking tramp, or, you know, Beyonce or Mariah Carey or Lady Gaga or Miley Cyrus or that fucking shit. And to me, like the Douche Fighters and Douche Grohl, he's just his own version of like Lady Gaga, you guys. He doesn't got it. He certainly doesn't got what Rush, Roll the Bones has. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show, 1-800-449-8255 from the fabulous golden EIB Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone. It's the Wolfman Jack on crack. And I want you, young person who's just 18 years old, right here in 2024 Super Bowl, I want you to buy Rush because you were born in 2006, 5 years after 9/11, when the Twin Towers were brought down by those terrorists in New York. You don't remember it. You've only seen it on YouTube. Your liberal teachers have not taught you well enough about what happened that day. I want you to listen to Rush and get a slap of reality and get out there and rock and roll the bones, because the night has a million saxophones right here on the Clark the Shark Show. And I'm out of here, people. Peace.